Here's a simple question. Do you want measured suits that fit better, or do you want the generic off-the-rack suits? How about that? How about that simple question? Any guy that I know wants to look as good as they possibly can. They want to look sharp, and they don't want their suits to look cheap. They want it to look good. Guess where you can go to make sure that happens? How about Indochino? It's the world's most exciting made-to-measure menswear company. We make suits and shirts to your exact measurements for an unparalleled fit and comfort. Guys love the wide selection of high-quality fabrics and colors to choose from, and the option to personalize details, including your lapel, lining, pockets, buttons, and writing your own monogram. Here's how it works. Visit a stylist at our showroom and have them take your measurements personally, or measure at home yourself and shop online at Indochino.com. Choose your fabric, choose your design, submit your measurements with your choices. Relax while your suit gets professionally tailored and mailed to you in just a couple of weeks. This week, my listeners can get any premium Indochino suit for just $359 at Indochino.com when entering SAS at checkout. That's 50% off the regular price for a made-to-measure premium suit. Plus, shipping is free as well. That's Indochino.com. Promo code SAS for any premium suit for just $359 and free shipping. Incredible deal for a premium made-to-measure suit, by the way. Indochino are also expanding into casual clothing. Your made-to-measure chinos will quickly become your go-to pant, pairing as easily with the suit jacket as they do with the sweater. And they'll be good any time of the year for any occasion, from boardroom meetings to Sunday brunches. Indochinos at an introductory price of $79, US dollars, that is.
Message and data rates may apply.
When did it become okay for men to be lazier, softer, fatter? We need to bring the men of this country back to greatness. And it's easier than ever with Ageless Male Max, a patent-pending formula with an ingredient that helps boost your total testosterone, promoting greater increases in muscle size and twice the reduction of body fat percentage than exercise alone. Plus, an amazing 64% increase in nitric oxide, which can be handy in the gym and in the bedroom. Take your manhood to the max by trying your first 30-day bottle free. Just pay shipping and handling. Not 10 days, not 15 days, but a full 30-day supply free when you text the word LIFT to 797979. Finally, a formula that boosts total testosterone. If your results with Ageless Male Max are too intense, please decrease use. For your free bottle, text LIFT to 797979. Text LIFT to 797979.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. The number to call up, as always, is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Got a jam-packed show coming your way today. Lots of stuff to get into. Carson Wentz, the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, has been medically cleared to play and even start this coming Sunday. We'll see how that story unfolds, and we will continue to monitor and get into that. Apparently, the reports are saying he will definitively start against Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts this upcoming Sunday. Again, the number to call up is always at 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. By the way, when a player doesn't like a contract, they hold out, right? Well, with Straight Talk Wireless, you never have to, because there is no contract. They use the same exact 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a whole lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Let me get this out of the way. Let me say what a lot of people might be scared to say. Let me say what a lot of people may not want to say. Let me say something that New Yorkers are not going to be happy of hearing. Your football New York Giants are in a world of damn trouble. They ain't in the kind of trouble the Yankees are in. The Yankees are in the kind of trouble where they're going to get to the postseason but lose a one-game playoff and a wild card spot to the Oakland A's. Because you got CC Sabathia with an ERA near 10 for crying out loud in recent memory. And Jay Happ and, and Severino and Tanaka ain't going to get it done. No, but at least their troubles are going to be once they make the postseason. The New York Giants have an entirely different problem on their hands. The kind of problem that my man JP in Brooklyn alluded to last week. The kind of problem that the national television airways highlight and illuminate in a very, very alarming fashion. And the fact that they went on national TV last night, stunk up the joint offensively, and ended up losing to a team with the most disgusting, nauseating fan base in American history, known as the Dallas Cowboys, just rakes my nerves. So I'm just going to say it, and I'm going to say it for you playing. Giants in a world of damn trouble. They're in a world of trouble. That's why Landon Collins was disgusted. That's why the rest of their crew appeared disgusted, because their offense didn't do a damn thing. I got news for you. Did y'all know that Saquon Barkley, that number 2 overall pick, who's an absolute stud in everybody's eyes, who weighs 233 pounds, who has tree trunks for legs, and was supposed to be breaking tackles and taking the league by storm? Do y'all know that with the exception of that 68-yard scamper for a touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars last Sunday, week 1 of the NFL season, albeit that's significant and that matters because if you can run for 58 yards, we ain't seen no Giants running back do that in quite some time. Do y'all realize that other than that, he's averaging about 2.4 yards a carry? Has anybody paid attention to that? Has anybody paid attention to the fact that Will Hernandez and Nate Solder on your offensive line on the left side with Eric Flowers as your right tackle? Did y'all realize that the offensive line is worth nothing? Did y'all know that they gave up 6 sacks at the expense of Eli Manning last night? You got guys like Taco Charlton getting a sack. Of course, DeMarcus Lawrence and others. Do you realize that? Do you realize that the Dallas Cowboys defense, we have to sit here today, right now, at this particular moment in time. We literally have to sit here looking at the Dallas Cowboys and saying, you know what, their defense might be legit. You realize we have no choice but to do that right now? We have no choice but to do that with the Dallas Cowboys because guess what? When they played the Carolina Panthers, they held them to 16 points. They play yesterday against the New York Giants. They held them to 13. Eli Manning, eyes bulging out of his face, looking like a deer in headlights when he was sacked. Poor Eli Manning. I mean, my God, did he look 37 years of age last night. You can say he's holding on to the football a little bit longer. You can talk about his immobility. You can attribute all of their lack of success to that to some degree. Yes. But I got news for you. That offensive line was getting pummeled. Cowboys defenders were running through them straight up. It wasn't like they were blitzing all over the place. They were manning up with 4-man fronts coming at the New York Giants, pushing their offensive linebacks like rubble. I mean, this is what we're talking about here. This is how bad it is here. And once again, the New York Giants are starting their season 0-2. What is that, like the 6th time in the last 7 years they've done that? I don't know about the rest of y'all, but there's a lot to be worried about with the New York Giants. There really is. And Dak Prescott, yes, congratulations to him. He accepted the challenge. The team accepted the challenge, blah, 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 blah. He was 16 of 25 for 160 yards. It wasn't even a 200-yard passing game. Can we pump the brakes just a touch? We're thankful that Dak Prescott didn't look awful. All right, fine. Bravo. I'm so touched. It really is touching. But in the end, the fact of the matter is the New York Giants lost this game because of Dallas's defense against them, not because of Dallas's offense. And Dallas playing offense the way that they've been playing the first 2 weeks of this season, don't expect any kind of success to continue unless Ezekiel Elliott starts getting the ball more and they're able to utilize play action to get the ball to some of these receivers. Outside of that, don't expect much from the Cowboys. The New York Giants, listen, they got a lot of sizzle. Eli Manning's a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Odell Beckham Jr. is one of the greatest receivers in the game. Saquon Barkley is the number 2 overall pick coming out of Penn State. Oh, they got a lot of sizzle. Where's the substance? And I'm not blaming Odell Beckham Jr. He had 11 receptions against Jacksonville. I'm not blaming him. But it seems like all of this noise that was made about the New York Giants has amounted to virtually nothing. And their season is in a world of trouble. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. That's just one storyline to get to. There's another. Actually, a couple of more. Can we officially stop all the noise about Sam Darnold? He looks good, y'all. 25 of 41 for 334 yards, his second game in the National Football League. But the Jets lost to the Miami Dolphins. They spotted the Dolphins 20. They tried to come back, didn't amount to it. Sam Darnold threw 2 interceptions. It's going to happen. And the Miami Dolphins, of all people, with Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback, with Drake as their running back, with a bunch of no-name receivers outside of Danny Amendola, the Miami Dolphins are 2-0 atop the AFC East because New England lost to Jacksonville yesterday. And I know that people looking at New England going up against Jacksonville thinking that, you know what, Jacksonville is going to be the favorites in the AFC now. Well, if Blake Bortles can quarterback like that all season long, you're damn right, particularly with Jacksonville's defense. But we all know that's not going to happen. So let's pump the brakes and just calm down. Just calm down. Back to Darnold. I like this kid. He can play. He can play. And I got to tell y'all something. I'm not saying this is the case, but I am saying this is a legitimate question to ask, albeit it's just 2 weeks into the season. This is truly a legitimate question to ask. Ladies and gentlemen, did the Giants make a mistake drafting Saquon Barkley instead of Sam Darnold? Because you got to remember, you're not just looking at the players straight up. You're also looking at Eli Manning. We all know the quarterback position is arguably the most important position in all of football, if not undisputably. And when you look at Eli Manning at 37 years of age, we've given too much. I'm guilty of this. We're giving so much credit, or blame rather, in terms of the Giants' offensive doldrums over the years to the lack and the absence of an offensive line. And we're pointing at that instead of looking at Eli and saying he might have been old at 37 years of age. Now, I want to state for the record, I'm not of that thinking. Because to me, it wasn't just about the Giants' offensive line. It was also about the absence of a running game. The combination of the two has put Eli Manning in a really, really bad spot. That's how I'm thinking. But I'm also not oblivious to the fact that he has absorbed some degree of punishment over the years because of the absence of those two components. And if you don't have those two components and you're taking punishment, even if you've improved in that category, you've buffered your offensive line a little bit. You obviously have a running back finally. I'm sorry, if Eli Manning has been beaten up and punch drunk, well, what do you expect? Is he going to look the same? No, he's not. And that is what we have going on here. That is what we have to pay attention to. That is absolutely positively what matters. I don't think that's the case with Eli, but I got to admit to you, when I saw Dallas pummeling him last night, it had me questioning stuff. It gave me cause to pause. I said, well, damn, look at him. Look at his eyes. I mean, he looks out of it. He's scared to death out there because he had no protection. So there are those out there that's going to believe this product out of USC, Sam Darnold, should have been picked by the Giants instead of falling to the very next spot at number 3 and being picked by the Jets. I'm interested in talking about that today, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That's another thing I'm interested in talking about. It just is. You know what I'm also interested in? I got to admit this to y'all. If the season, if we were in a position where we had to judge MVPs right now, who would it be? Would it be Patrick Mahomes of Kansas City? Or would it be Ryan Fitzpatrick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Boy, did Ryan Fitzpatrick put on a show yesterday. Another 400-yard passing game. The man passed for 402 yards against the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. They were up 27-7. Threw a 75-yard bomb to Deshaun Jackson. Connected with O.J. Howard as well. Eagles gave up 2 plays of 75-plus yards, which is just embarrassing, which creates questions in my mind about the Philadelphia Eagles. Not because of Carson Wentz or Nick Foles before him, or the Eagles offense. It's because of that damn defense. Eagles are stout against the run. They're number 1. Against the pass, they're like 27th. Like 27th. You see Deshaun Jackson, and I mean, it's amazing. He's over 30 years of age. You see how he flies? And I got news for you. You know what I found myself thinking about with Deshaun Jackson watching him play yesterday against his old team, the Philadelphia Eagles? You know what that got me to thinking about? That damn Chip Kelly, who obviously didn't mind getting rid of Deshaun Jackson. You see how these coaches are? And this is just a pet peeve of mine. I totally understand the importance of locker room chemistry. And I get the fact that if somebody is a bit truculent or cantankerous and they end up being a distraction for your locker room or whatever, that's not something that you invite. It's not something that you applaud. It's not something that you want. I totally get that. I really, really do. But the flip side to all of that, is, why does it have to be perfect? See, the thing that annoys me about coaches and this belief, this system that you gotta have, or the locker room presence and all of this stuff that we talk about all the damn time. What gets on my last aching nerve about stuff like that, ladies and gentlemen, is this. You're the coach. Figure it out. Figure out how to keep the best talent on the field and in your locker room. Because that's how you win. If Bill Parcells wanted choir boys, there would have been no Lawrence Taylor. The Philadelphia Eagles ended up drafting Mike Mamula years ago instead of Warren Sapp because of some weed issue in college. Which player would you have rather had? Especially if you were the Eagles. All of this stuff about this need for choir boys in a locker room, I think it lets coaches off the hook. What the hell do you do if everybody wants to march lockstep with one another and personalities are not allowed to shine and spread their wings and express themselves, and everybody has to be mechanical and robotic? What is your job as a coach? Some people are choir boys, some people are not. Some people are timid. Some people, they brag and they're cocky. Some people are outspoken. Others are like recluses or like a recluse. That's life. Work it out. Deshaun Jackson should not be in a Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform. With that speed, that electrifying speed, that long ball ability that you have with him on the football field. Could you imagine if Deshaun Jackson was in Philadelphia? Ask the Giants about Deshaun Jackson, particularly Tom Coughlin, who had to deal with him returning a punt to win a game, where Tom Coughlin literally told the kicker, don't kick the ball to him. And he's seen throwing his playbook sheet down while Deshaun Jackson is running by him. This brother's electrifying. He should be in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform. No way in hell he should have been in Tampa Bay. I know that's years ago because he went to the Redskins before he went to Tampa Bay, but that's just on my mind, damn it, because I was a reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer for 17 years. And I saw what this brother could do. And he should have never been pushed out of Philadelphia. Speaking of being pushed out, by the way, and staying with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think we might have to entertain the possibility that Jameis Winston should be pushed to the bench for the remainder of the season. It's just 2 games. Ryan Fitzpatrick is streaky. I get all of that. But the man has thrown for over 800 yards in his first 2 games. He's thrown for 8 touchdowns and has run for another. And just has thrown just one interception. And by the way, did y'all see what he was wearing yesterday at the post-game conference? Now, that was hilarious. That was absolutely positively hilarious. For those of you who don't know, he stole Deshaun Jackson's outfit from his locker and put it on for the press conference. Shade, a shirt that was halfway open, along with some gold chains around his neck. It was absolutely hysterical. The whole daggone press corps was cracking up laughing. And Ryan Fitzpatrick had stolen Deshaun Jackson's outfit just for the press conference. It was really funny. And you got to remember, Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard. Okay? That's where he went, Harvard. But the point is that he's relating to his teammates. Now, me personally, I'm of the mindset, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not being premature about this. Jameis Winston has been a distraction and a headache for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But he's only 24. He's not 35 like Ryan Fitzpatrick. And in my mind, you keep Ryan Fitzpatrick. You let him be your starting quarterback. You let him guide you for the season. And let Jameis Winston do something that he hasn't had to do in his life. That's sit on the bench, ride the bench, and watch somebody else perform and be a professional while doing it. Because if there's ever an opportunity to teach Jameis Winston a lesson that he will learn in profound fashion for years and years to come, it's him having to sit there and watch somebody else perform. Now, let me be very, very clear about my feelings about Jameis Winston. I actually like him. I don't like some of the things that I've heard him do, although I haven't heard admittance. But I think that Jameis Winston, as a football player, is a team player. I don't think he's selfish as a team player. And I think he's the kind of person that would accept the role, particularly with Ryan Fitzpatrick playing the way that he's been playing. Jameis Winston would have no choice but to accept that role. And then to sit back and watch Ryan Fitzpatrick school him on being a professional and being a man and understanding that you have a responsibility to your teammates to be as outstanding as you possibly can because they're relying on you to help them pay their bills and to take care of their families because this is the pros. I think that's something that will work tremendously well for Jameis Winston. So I'm all for Dirk Cutter right now announcing to the world, Ryan Fitzpatrick's our quarterback for the season until I say otherwise. Jameis Winston will be riding the bench when we get back. I'm all for it. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Obviously, this past weekend I was at the fight. Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez. It was a great fight yet again. Canelo shocked me because I thought that he backed up. He's a magnificent counterpuncher, an exceptional boxer. And I thought that, just looking at him, and he didn't back up for most of the fight. Triple G dared him to fight Mexican style and to be right there. And Canelo was right there for Triple G all night long. And Triple G was backing up, throwing a jab. So in that regard, for this to be a decision that favored Canelo Alvarez, I understand the thinking. I was just of the mindset that this is boxing. Jabs do matter. Points matter. Plus, Triple G connected in the later rounds with his share of power punches. And I think because of that, I have to give credit where credit is due. I think Triple G deserved to win the fight. Was it a robbery like my brother Teddy Atlas says? No, it was not. It's not a robbery. It was a close fight, one that a lot of people feel could have gone either way. I believe it should have went to Triple G. Now, I stand here humbled by what I'm about to tell you. Errol Spence Jr., welterweight champion. Jamel Charlo, middleweight champion, WBC. And Andre Ward, who's retired now, but former undisputed light heavyweight champion, who recently knocked out Sergey Kovalev. Okay, before this kid Alvarez did it. Andre Ward, these three champions surrounded me Saturday night and told me they thought I was wrong. They all thought Canelo won the fight because Canelo was the aggressor. Triple G was the one backing up. And they said those body shots that Canelo was hitting Triple G with had his legs lifting off the canvas. I saw some of those things. I just saw a Triple G that was more effective in the latter part of the fight. So to me, he warranted a close decision win, which he did not get. Now you got people clamoring for a third. I am not. Triple G had 2 shots to get it done. I don't think a third is necessary. I think a third works against him. I think that it's time for Canelo to move on. Fight David Lemieux, who knocked out Gary O'Sullivan in the first round. David Lemieux got power personified. Fight Daniel Jacobs. Fight Charlo. But I don't think a trilogy is necessary here. And I think we've seen more of Triple G inching towards the end. He weighed in at 160 pounds for the 390th time in his life. It's a lot of fighting, y'all. It might be time for him to fade into the twilight. He had 2 chances to beat Canelo and to take him out, and he couldn't do it. It's just that simple. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage of America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. 888-SAY-ESPN is the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. We'll continue talking NFL action, get into a lot of games I've already discussed, get into a lot more games that we didn't discuss. With our very own Booger McFarland, one of the voices for Monday Night Football. He'll be here with us up next, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people.
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm Stephen A.
You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith and on Facebook at Stephen A.
Guys, let's be real. When you look good, you feel good. At the JCPenney wardrobe sale, you can get 50% off select men's suits separate, sport coats, dress pants, and accessories. Plus, select dress shirts, buy one, get one free. Raise your game with Collection by Michael Strahan. All the right looks to take your style to the next level. Also, save an extra 20% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon or extra 15% off with any other method of payment. Hurry in. JCPenney. Style and value for all. Pricing and coupon valid 9/13 and 9/23. Credit offer subject to credit approval. Some exclusions and restrictions apply. See store at jcp.com for coupon and details.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
888-SAY-ESPN is always the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. That is the number to call into the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio. You can tweet me at Stephen A. Smith. You can Instagram me at Stephen A. Smith. You can Facebook me at Stephen A. Smith. Feel free. I'm right here in the house. Before I get any further, we're waiting for Booger McFarland. I don't know if he'll be able to make it because they've got a meeting, Monday Night Football meeting, so he might have to postpone. Maybe not. We'll know in a minute or two. Outside of that, I'd be remiss in neglecting to point this out. I mentioned Patrick, on Ryan Fitzpatrick. I did. Let me not forget Patrick Mahomes. This kid is special. He looks special. There is no doubt about it. Kansas City's offense is high octane. It's better than the Steelers' offense without Le'Veon Bell, of course. It's better than the greatest show on turf. Marshall Faulk, one would argue Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce. Well, maybe I might not go that far because they did have Kurt Warner. Isaac Bruce and Marshall Faulk and the boys. The Chargers. Dan Fouts, Ed Coryell, Don Coryell is the head coach. Dan Fouts as the quarterback. Chuck Muncie in the backfield. Charlie Joyner as a receiver. Kellen Winslow as your tight end. They were something special to behold. But Patrick Mahomes is throwing 6 touchdown passes. He's throwing 6 touchdown passes against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's where I would give folks cause to pause. The Chargers defense was without Joey Bosa, and they clearly were a bit hampered defensively. And the Steelers, their secondary's awful. Can we just say it? It's bad enough you didn't get pressure on the quarterback, which is something I've lamented for quite some time. But your secondary's awful. The Steelers secondary is awful. They're just horrible. Okay? And the other thing is this. I'm feeling bad for my man, Mike Tomlin, and obviously people are going to look at him, and you got to look at the head coach because there's a level of culpability that you have to attach to him. I love the man personally, and I think his record speaks for itself in terms of him being a damn good coach. The problem is, right now, dysfunctionality has raked through this franchise like a virus. You got last year, James Harrison reportedly falling asleep in meetings. You got Antonio Brown FaceTiming folks at a time where they win a playoff game and literally he's FaceTiming Mike Tomlin addressing the team, telling the team, stay the hell off of social media. Then you lose to Jacksonville in the playoffs. You wet the bed there. Then you come back this year. Le'Veon's holding out. You got offensive linemen turncoats completely backstabbing and betraying him. It's an act of betrayal. I don't care what anybody says. I understand that Le'Veon Bell was supposed to show up and he didn't show up. I understand that he's been inaccessible and they haven't been talking to him. But to publicly decry him the way that they did, knowing that all he's trying to do is get his money in a sport where you got a short window to do it, it's an act of betrayal. They can say it any way they want to. It's an act of betrayal. That's what it is. Let's be clear. But then you also got Antonio Brown reportedly threatening a reporter from ESPN's website focused on African-American issues and stuff like that. He's threatening a reporter to do physical harm to him. So you got offensive linemen acting up. You got Antonio Brown losing his damn mind. And that's when he's not yelling as his offensive coordinator because Juju Smith-Schuster and Jesse James are getting all the touches and targets. I mean, the Steelers are an absolute mess right now. They're 0-1-1. They got a tie with the Cleveland Browns, which as far as I'm concerned is a damn loss. And of course, they gave up 42 to Kansas City. With Patrick Mahomes in his second year, only having one start on his belt last season, another to start this season, 2 complete starts in his NFL career. This was his 3rd start. And the man throws 6 touchdowns on you. Steelers didn't even have the decency to let Tyreek Hill run all over them or Kareem Hunt. They watched this brother. I mean, Patrick Mahomes looked like Joe Montana yesterday. He looked like Joe Montana. Steelers got to get it together, man. I personally think this season's over. Cincinnati looks better. Baltimore looks better. More importantly, even the Cleveland Browns look more together as a team than they did. I mean, you got to steal a field goal kicker that woofed 2 kicks and 2 extra points. That's why Cleveland lost yesterday to New Orleans. They didn't lose because they look like a dysfunctional bunch. Steelers ain't even a team right now. They're a collection of individual parts. And I'm praying that it doesn't cost Mike Tomlin because he doesn't deserve this. But who the hell knows with these guys? Who knows? 888-SAY-ESPN is the number to call. It's 888-729-3776. By the way, ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Home Insurance. Getting a quote is easier than ever. Gentlemen, you've been sitting around for too long, whether you want to get to a game, NFL, college football, MLB, or a concert. Look no further than Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Go to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN to get 10% off your order. Let's go to the phones. Mota, you're live with Stephen A. Did I pronounce that correctly?
It's Mata. It's Mata Smith.
Mata. What's going on, man? Beautiful last name, by the way. Beautiful last name. Go ahead, man.
Pretty. You on 100% of everything that you say. I love you. I respect you. But when it comes to the Cowboys, you got to keep my team's name out your mouth. Okay, show with some respect.
Please.
Okay?
It's not right there. First of all, you don't tell me what to keep out of my mouth. What show you calling into, Mata? What show you calling into? You calling into Stephen A. Smith show. You don't tell me to be quiet. I don't keep anybody's name out of my mouth. That's number one. Number two, you really sticking your chest out now because you won your first game of the season? Really? Really? Is that what we doing?
All I'm saying is this. Defense didn't score points. They played tremendous last night. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
Defensively.
But offense scored the points. Dak rose to the occasion. The gauntlet was thrown down. He picked it up.
Six sacks. A strip sack fumble as well. Come on now. There was nothing to write home about with your offense. There was nothing to write home about with Dallas's offense. You ain't going to win too many games this year if you don't get better offensively. I can tell you that much. You won't win 7 games.
We'll win 7 games.
Listen, I didn't say literally.
We'll win 7 games.
Hold on. What I said, Mata, was this. You won't win 7 games playing offense that way. Meaning that you'll have to play better offensively to win more than 7 games.
Well, trades will happen. We will play better offensively. We'll get our thing together, and then we'll be in the playoffs.
Can I predict what you're going to do? Can I predict what I think you're going to do?
What are we going to do?
You're going to go out and you're going to get Josh Gordon. You're going to take a chance on Josh Gordon. And this Josh Gordon that the Cleveland Browns have been working with for 6 years, okay, that we don't know. We don't know what the situation is. There's no definitive reports telling us what he did. But based on his past history, which, by the way, can be far more egregious than what I'm about to say, just for the purposes of my audience, not directing it at him specifically because we don't know. But since he has been associated with some things, let me just say it is possible that him or Randy Gregory or somebody else won't be able to stay off the weed. And as a result, it's going to make up whatever little chemistry y'all are building. I wouldn't rule that out. I wouldn't rule it out.
Can I say this to you?
Go ahead,
Can I say this to you?
Go ahead, Mata.
Never bet against a Texas boy. Josh Gordon is from Texas. They call him Flash. If we do get him, he will come to the Cowboys, and he'll be all that in a bag of.
You want me to tell you why that's a problem? Mata, can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Don't you have a problem with somebody that has had as many problems as he has had, and the Cleveland Browns elect to let him go, and he's telling y'all where he would rather be? The nerve! The nerve! Who is he to tell anybody where he'd like to be? Shouldn't he say, in an NFL team that wants me? As opposed to, I'd like to go to Dallas. Really? Really? It's like that? You think you got choices?
This is the same Cleveland Browns team that's had the number 1 draft pick year in and year out.
Stop it. Mata, I got to go. I'm cutting you off because I got to go to commercial break. But I'm going to say this to you. Don't you dare go that route. Don't say anything bad about the Cleveland Browns when it comes to Josh Gordon. You can't do more for an individual athlete than Cleveland has done for Josh Gordon.
Great speaking with you.
Oh, thanks a lot, bro. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back with your phone calls in more in a minute. More of your calls. More football talk. More boxing talk coming up in just a second, so don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha. Night. Oh, I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all have no idea how lucky y'all are. How lucky this nation is that I'm working for ESPN, which is a sports network. And I'm not working for a political network. Because this stuff about the Supreme Court nominee and, all of a sudden you found somebody from high school, okay, that said he did something wrong. The things that I would say, but I'm going to relieve my producers, Jonathan and Nuno and Kat and the wonderful, lovely Marsha Keegan and Justin Craig and Troy Kelly. I'm not going to say anything. But my God, are y'all lucky I'm not a political pundit. Oh, would I be going off about it? High school. Supreme Court Justice, nominee, and they talk about something that might have happened in high school. Lord have mercy this country. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Ooh, the things that I would say. Let's get back to the phones. Let's go to my man Derek. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, D. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen?
I'm good, man.
Oh, good. Listen, the things that you say sometimes, you be on the money, but what you're saying about Mike Tomlin, you're totally wrong about.
Please.
Marvin Lewis, you've been claiming that he should be fired for not winning a playoff game.
Yes, sir.
What has Tomlin done? He's a defensive back coach, and the secondary's been stinking for years now.
Okay.
We let a somewhat rookie quarterback come in there, throw all like he's going to the Hall of Fame. And I guarantee you Fitzpatrick would do the same thing as well. And I'm the biggest Steelers fan.
All right, let me stop here. Hold on. Stop right there. Since you're the biggest Steelers fans, let's call it like we see it, okay? Because you brought up the comparison to Marvin Lewis. It's blasphemy what you just said. You actually owe me a damn apology for what you just said.
Oh, no.
And I'm going to tell you why, Derek. Derek, I don't blame you if you think that Mike Tomlin is to blame for all of this and you know what, he should suffer the consequences. I can understand that thinking. You're not alone. I respect that. Here's my point. 116-61, 65 winning percentage. In the playoffs, his record is 8-7 in 15 games. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1. He's been to 3 or 4 AFC championship games. Now, I understand that they haven't won a Super Bowl since 2010. I understand the argument. Hell, he might have underachieved. I get all of that, man. I understand it. And if that's your reason for wanting him to go, particularly since defense was supposed to be a signature and this defense has looked horrible, I'm fine. But don't compare him to Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis don't even belong in the same sentence as Mike Tomlin. When you've coached in the same place for 15 damn years and you haven't won one single playoff game, In your career, you have nothing to say. Nothing. That's my point, Derek.
I'm going to get off the air, but let me ask, what has Tomlin done? Because the 2010 football team that he inherited was Bill Cowher's team. Give me a signature player that he has on his team.
Time out. He's been to 2 AFC championship games since then. I'm not satisfied, and I don't blame you for feeling that way. I just told you that. All I'm getting on you about is for bringing Marvin Lewis into the sentence. That's all I'm getting on you about, Derek.
It's the same result.
It's not the same result, Derek. How could you say that? The man hasn't won a playoff game in 15 years. 15 years, Derek.
But he made the playoffs.
Derek, 15 years and not one single playoff win? 15 years? You're going to compare Mike Tomlin to that?
Yeah.
Come on, Derek. You better than that, bro. You better than that. I'm going to give you an opportunity to call me back tomorrow. I need you to sleep on it. Go get a vanilla latte or something. Chill with your lovely lady or whatever the case, and then call back tomorrow. Come on, Derek. You can't compare Mike Tomlin to that. He don't deserve that. I'm not a single playoff victory in 10, 15 years. Hour number 2 up next.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Guys, let's be real. When you look good, you feel good. At the JCPenney wardrobe sale, you can get 50% off select men's suits, separate sport coats, dress pants, and accessories. Plus, select dress shirts, buy one, get one free. Raise your game with Collection by Michael Strahan. All the right looks to take your style to the next level. Also, save an extra 20% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon, or extra 15% off with any other method of payment. Hurry in. JCPenney. Style and value for all. Pricing and coupon valid 9/13 and 9/23. Credit offer subject to credit approval. Some exclusions and restrictions apply. See store at jcp.com for coupon and details.
Here's a simple question. Do you want measured suits that fit better, or do you want the generic off-the-rack suits? How about that? How about that simple question? Any guy that I know wants to look as good as they possibly can. They want to look sharp, and they don't want their suits to look cheap. They want it to look good. Guess where you can go to make sure that happens? How about Indochino? It's the world's most exciting made-to-measure menswear company. We make suits and shirts to your exact measurements for an unparalleled fit and comfort. Guys love the wide selection of high-quality fabrics and colors to choose from, and the option to personalize details, including your lapel, lining, pockets, buttons, and writing your own monogram. Here's how it works. Visit a stylist at our showroom and have them take your measurements personally, or measure at home yourself and shop online at Indochino.com. Choose your fabric, choose your design, submit your measurements with your choices. Relax while your suit gets professionally tailored and mailed to you in just a couple of weeks. This week, my listeners can get any premium Indochino suit for just $359 at Indochino.com when entering SAS at checkout. That's 50% off the regular price for a made-to-measure premium suit. Plus, shipping is free as well. That's Indochino.com. Promo code SAS for any premium suit for just $359 and free shipping. Incredible deal for a premium made-to-measure suit, by the way. Indochino are also expanding into casual clothing. Your made-to-measure chinos will quickly become your go-to pant, pairing as easily with the suit jacket as they do with the sweater, and they'll be good any time of the year for any occasion, from boardroom meetings to Sunday brunches. Indochinos at an introductory price of $79, US dollars, that is.
Message and data rates may apply.
When did it become okay for men to be lazier, softer, fatter? We need to bring the men of this country back to greatness. And it's easier than ever with Ageless Male Max, a patent-pending formula with an ingredient that helps boost your total testosterone, promoting greater increases in muscle size and twice the reduction of body fat percentage than exercise alone. Plus, an amazing 64% increase in nitric oxide, which can be handy in the gym and in the bedroom. Take your manhood to the max by trying your first 30-day bottle free. Just pay shipping and handling. Not 10 days, not 15 days, but a full 30-day supply free when you text the word LIFT to 797979. Finally, a formula that boosts total testosterone. If your results with Ageless Male Max are too intense, please decrease use. For your free bottle, text LIFT to 797979. Text LIFT to 797979.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show here on ESPN Radio, here with you over the airways of ESPN Radio, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM, channel 80, plus simulcast over the national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. I'll get to more of these other games in just a second. I was in the newsroom here at our ESPN studios. Usually I'm traveling all over the country. I was in Las Vegas the other day for the fight, Saturday night. I was in Vegas since Wednesday night, actually. So I was there Thursday and Friday. I did the show from Vegas. And then Saturday I did the show, I did television from Vegas as well. I'll be in L.A. in the coming weeks, obviously, for LeBron James' arrival officially in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform. NFL, NBA training camps opens the 26th, if I remember correctly. So I'll be getting into all of that. Plus, I got some games to get into as well, including the Chargers, the Rams. The list goes on and on. We'll be touching on some of those things in the minutes to come. But, I'm sitting here in our New York studios. And ladies and gentlemen, I got to admit to you, I'm shocked. I don't mean to sound like my man Shiggy on Instagram. All of this other stuff where he's imitating me is hilarious, by the way. But I'm shocked. To use his words, I'm shocked. And I'm appalled. Because I'm walking through the newsroom and my man Bomani Jones and Pablo and them are sitting up in there. Not Pablo so much, but Bomani, my brother, who's nothing short of brilliant. I mean, he's smart as a whip. All right? And I love him as a colleague. I got to tell you something right now. I don't know what the hell is wrong with him any more than I know what the hell is wrong with my producer, Jonathan Winthrop, or anybody. Where the hell are all of these Marvin Lewis fans coming from? Of all the things in life to root for or to co-sign for or to support, Marvin Lewis, 16th season as a coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. His record is 125, 112, and 3. Doesn't exactly knock your socks off. John is nodding his head like, oh my God, this guy's winning 75% of his game. That ain't even 55%. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, this is what they're talking about. Well, he has Andy Dalton as his quarterback. What would he do if he had Ben Roethlisberger? That was Jonathan's position. But Monty had the audacity to bring up to me, well, you know what? They got used jock straps, subpar equipment, and all of this other stuff. I mean, what? It was good enough to get him to the playoffs 7 times. It was good enough to get him to the playoffs 7 times. So you wet the bed come postseason time, and oh my goodness, now that's an excuse. Marvin Lewis is knowledgeable about the sport of football. Marvin Lewis, if you want to sit up there and say he deserves to be a head coach in the National Football League, so be it. But Marvin Lewis as the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals is an atrocity. It should not be allowed. Not unless they offering free tickets to Bengals games. You can't win a playoff game once in 15 years. And you get to keep your job, get extensions, make over $7 million a year. Why? Why? Cincinnati Bengals. This is a team that in Marvin Lewis's era has won 2 AFC North crowns. Jonathan, look at me when I'm talking to you. Don't hide now. 2 AFC division crowns in 15 years. That's something to brag about too? What the hell are y'all talking about? What's so special about Marvin Lewis? I could make the case that Marvin Lewis works against affirmative action. That's right, I said it. You got a paucity, at least at one time, of African-American coaches. He gets the opportunity, which I was very proud he got. But when you keep guys like him around, where's the opportunity for other young minorities on the come up? I mean, my goodness. If Marvin Lewis could keep his job, I guess Jerry Jones could keep Jason Garrett forever, huh? Hell, why don't we just get Jeff Fisher back in L.A. and never give Sean McVay an opportunity? How about we do that? I mean, Jeff Fisher missed the playoffs 16 times in 22 years as a head coach. That's what the deal is. Jonathan just told me Marvin Lewis has 4. I was reading from my notes here. It says 2. It says 2 AFC crowns during the first half of the decade. I apologize. Okay? But here's the deal. Jeff Fisher, you can look at the fact that he missed the playoffs 16 times in 22 years. You know what my comeback to that, y'all, is? How the hell you a coach for 22 years? Didn't somebody along the way notice that you weren't head coach material? But you got Derek in Atlanta calling me up, mentioning Marvin Lewis in the same sentence as Mike Tomlin, when Mike Tomlin has won 65% of his games, has been to 3 or 4 AFC championship games, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and has won a Super Bowl title, albeit 10 years ago. What the hell are y'all talking about? Marvin Lewis doesn't deserve to be mentioned in the same sentence as Mike Tomlin. Let's be very clear. And I'm not happy with what I'm seeing in Pittsburgh. And whatever happens, happens. Although I wish nothing but the best for my man Mike Tomlin. But the point is, if the Steelers ain't getting it done, he's a man. He knows what time it is. But don't give me no Marvin Lewis. And as I told Bomani, and as I'll tell anybody who thinks about Marvin Lewis in that light, I want to work for y'all. I want to work for y'all. I get to be mediocre for 15 years, and I ain't got to worry about losing my job. A matter of fact, I might get a damn raise. I mean, hell, with a life like that, why succeed? To my man John Curtis, you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about making the studio great. Don't worry about it. Let it go. The sound system, yo, John, Nuno, Cat, everybody, don't even worry about it. We don't have to sound great. The audio does not have to be good. Don't even worry about it no more, John, according to Jonathan Winthrop, according to Bomani Jones, and all of these Marvin Lewis lovers out there. Yeah, don't even worry about it. Bomani Jones with Pablo. You know what? Hey, stop working. Don't worry about trying to make a great show. Be mediocre. It's no big deal. According to y'all. I mean, whatever the definition of the playoffs is for us in our industry, why bother? See this beautiful studio that I'm in here? Hey, John, JC, you have nothing to worry about no more. Hell with it. Just put photos of anybody. Put photos of Mickey Mouse all over the place for crying out loud. What difference does it make? Where are the standards? Marvin Lewis? Really? Now, luckily, the Los Angeles Rams didn't feel that way. They sat up there and came to their senses, Mr. Stan Kroenke, the billionaire himself, said enough's enough. We got to make sure that we give the fans in L.A. what they're paying to see. It's too many distractions. Rodeo Drive, Venice Beach, and everything in between from Melrose to Santa Monica Boulevard and everything in between. I mean, we got too much stuff going on here. These people they will disappear on us in a heartbeat. Jeff Fisher's got to go. They hire Sean McVay. Now look at the Los Angeles Rams. They arguably the best team in football. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. You look at the Los Angeles Rams right now, offensively, defensively. Look how big time they are. They ain't playing. They're not playing. And oh, by the way, I mean, listen, we ain't talk much about the Rams. You know why? Because they were playing the Arizona Cardinals. They won 34-0. The Arizona Cardinals stink this year. They stink. Let's just call it what it is. Sam Bradford's their quarterback. Josh Rosen, eventually we'll see him get a chance, right? A chance that really, really matters, right? But Sam Bradford, quarterback for them yesterday, threw for 90 yards. 90. Didn't even throw for 100 yards. That's just trifling. Larry Fitzgerald, why the hell are you even out there? Just retire rather than subject yourself to this nonsense. And Mr. David Johnson, with his 3-year, $39 million extension coming off his wrist injury, 48 yards rushing, ain't his fault, but the Arizona Cardinals stink. Period. But the Los Angeles Rams are legit. Eagles got something to worry about. Green Bay Packers got something to worry about. New Orleans Saints have something to worry about. Atlanta Falcons have something to worry about. Minnesota Vikings have something to worry about. And it comes in the name of the Los Angeles Rams. Because Jared Goff, come to find out, he can play. He was just contaminated by Jeff Fisher. We know what Todd Gurley could do. We know that they acquired Ndamukong Suh and added Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib and those boys. And they re-signed Aaron Donald and made him the highest paid player in the game for 24 hours before Khalil Mack got his deal. But I'll tell you another team that everybody needs to pay attention to. Once upon a time, we were looking at the Los Angeles Chargers and saying to ourselves, why don't you go to hell back to San Diego? Although they were playing the Buffalo Bills yesterday, look, they played Kansas City more competitively than the Steelers did as far as I'm concerned. Phillip Rivers still showed up through 3 touchdowns yesterday. Akila rushed for 77 yards on just 7 carries. Allen and Green and the crew, they showed up as well. And this defense for the Los Angeles Chargers is no joke. And that's without Bosa. So wait until he comes back. All I'm saying is you got to pay attention to this stuff. LA's got 2 teams, legit teams. Actually, their teams are more legit than the New York teams. Because even though the Jets are 1-1 on the season, they were brought down to earth by Miami yesterday. The New York Giants, once again, starting off in a hole. Same thing, same day, different problems. They should have kept Tom Coughlin. A matter of fact, what you should have done is tell Tom Coughlin, we don't want you to coach no more. We want you to run the show from an executive perspective. That's what they could have done because he seems to be doing a damn good job in Jacksonville. But we shall see, won't we? We shall see. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's the number to call up. This 888-729-3776. All of that stuff is stuff that we got to pay attention to. Plus, there's a Monday night game tonight. I know I'm paying attention to it. I want to see Khalil Mack again. You know why I want to see Khalil Mack so badly, y'all? Because John Gruden is now 0-2. And both games he complained about his defense not having much of a pass rush. Duh! You think? You think, John Gruden? That maybe, just maybe, if you had kept Khalil Mack, you wouldn't be having these problems. But we're thinking long-term, right? We're thinking long-term. We're not thinking immediate future. Oh, no, never that. We don't think that. No. But each game you complain about the absence of a pass rush. Oakland's defense actually played well yesterday. 2 missed tackles in the last 20 seconds didn't help position Denver to get in the field goal range, and ultimately they sealed the deal and won the game. But the Raiders actually played good defense, but they didn't have a pass rush, and it cost them. And everybody want to rave about, Derek Carr. Let me tell you something about Derek Carr. He completed 21 of his first 22 passes, 29 of 32 overall. And with the exception of a 30-yard pass, he had like 2 good passes. Everything else was dipping and dunking. So he was put in a position where he wouldn't make that many mistakes. Okay, that's football. That's how it goes. And I actually like Derek Carr. But let's be clear about something here. They scored 19 points. They scored 29 to 39. We're waiting to see this prolific offense since John Gruden is the offensive guru, right? And Derek Carr is who you have, right? Well, what the hell is going on? Why is there such a problem? Why can't we see more from Amari Cooper, who, by the way, is a stud for you? Why can't we see that? It would be nice. It really, really would be nice. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Derek Carr, essentially, he went 29 of 32 for 288 yards. Take away the 30-yard reception, and what you have is Derek Carr completing 28 passes for 258 yards. Now, y'all might like that. To me, that's like, all right, okay. Amari Cooper, 10 receptions, 116 yards yesterday. I like that. They got him more involved. They need to. He is not a scrub. And that's who caught the 30-yard pass from Derek Carr. Get him more involved. But ultimately, if you can't get a pass rush, you're probably going to lose games defensively, John Gruden. And I'm not knocking John Gruden, the coach. I'm not questioning his football acumen at all. And by the way, he was a colleague here and has always been good to me. I actually like John Gruden a great deal. I don't appreciate the fact that the Oakland Raiders found $100 million for him and couldn't find enough money for Khalil Mack, but that's a different story here or there because obviously John Gruden and coaches' salaries don't count against the cap. But principally speaking, to pay John Gruden and not take care of Khalil Mack leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And it's hard to root for the Oakland Raiders when they make a decision like that. And I think it's going to cost them. And I think as a result, Oakland ain't winning more than 7 games this year. But again, we're talking long term. We're not talking short term. And we get an opportunity to see Khalil Mack tonight against Seattle. And it'll be real interesting to see what he's able to do because guess what? If Chicago's defense is ferocious and they get all in the mug of Seattle going against the mobile Russell Wilson, that will tell me a lot about Chicago's defense. And it's in Chi-Town tonight. 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Real interesting to see that. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Tommy. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, man. What's up?
Stephen, I got a couple questions for you, boss.
Yes, sir.
First, I want to start off with the New York Giants. Who do you think the fans, per se, have to point the finger at right now based off their performance? So do we need to start with the coaching staff, maybe the quarterback coach, the offensive line coach? Can I tell you what it is for me?
I think it's the GM Gettleman, because I don't think enough has been done to improve this offensive line as exponentially as it needs to be improved. That's my issue. When you know you have a 37-year-old quarterback, buffering him with Saquon Barkley out of the backfield is one element. But just acquiring Nate Solder and drafting Will Hernandez is not enough. Y'all got to figure out how to get Eric Flowers out of there and improve that right tackle spot as well. You have to figure out a way. Eric Flowers has been a starter for this team for the last 2-3 years. And it is clear he is in over his head and has no business whatsoever being a starting quarterback. Starting right tackle or a tackle in any side for the New York Giants. He has no business. He's just not that good.
Got you. Okay, and my other question for you, regarding earlier what you were saying about Deshaun Jackson, I know your heart lies in Philly. I know you're a Philly guy.
Stop right there. I'm a native New Yorker from Hollis, Queens, New York City. I just worked in Philadelphia for 17 years as a writer. But go ahead.
About that. Me being the Redskins guy I am, the stunt that Deshaun Jackson had with this Redskins, do you believe with the weapons they have now, Josh Doxson, Alex Smith especially, what Alex Smith was able to do in Kansas City, if the Redskins would have put the trust into G-Jax, do you think they could be in a way better situation looking this season?
I think so. D-Jack makes you spread the field. You got to be honest. You can't let him blow by you. You'll pay a price, a very, very hefty price. And I think they should have found a way to keep him. But remember, he's been in Tampa since last year. So I think we have to pay attention to that. But I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Let's go to Kenny. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Kenny?
Hey, Stephen A. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. Talk to me, man.
Let me ask you something. I'm 54 years old. I've been watching boxing since I'm a little kid. My grandfather and father were big boxing fans.
Okay.
I go back. I'm so sick and tired of these judges, the way they judge these fights. And I heard Max today on First Take with you saying that, well, Canelo won the fight because he's the more popular fighter. Mm-hmm. You know, that just irks the heck out of me.
Hold on, Stop right there. Kenny, it irks all of us. We don't like it. I don't approve of it. Teddy Atlas, don't get me started with how he feels about it. But what I'm saying is that there's a time and place to make those arguments. When you've got Richard Steele stopping a fight, when Meldrick Taylor had Julio Cesar Chavez, that's a problem. When you see Roy Jones get robbed at the Olympics the way that he did, not that that's professional boxing, but you know what I'm saying, that's a problem. When you see Pernell Whitaker, School Cats, and it ends up being a draw or something like that, that's a problem. Saturday night's fight was close. You had people who thought Triple G won. You had people who thought Canelo won. That is not the time to make that argument.
I had it 115-113 across the board for
all right.
Triple G.
Listen to this. I had it 114-113-1 because I gave them even for round 6.
No, I taped the fight and I watched it 3 times, and you know what? He won the first fight too. I mean,
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That's why I want. See, you said on First Take you don't want to see a third fight. I want to see a third fight.
You know why I don't want to see it? Because I think that Triple G is getting older. And what I would hate is, he gets in there, for example, and he ends up getting knocked out, say for the sake of argument, because he's old and Father Time caught up to him and attrition kicked in and wore it down. I would hate that. I would hate that.
I don't think Canelo's going to give him a third fight.
If I'm Canelo, you know what? Why bother? I mean, Daniel Jacobs is out there. David Lemieux is out there. Jamel Charlo is out there. The middleweight division is stacked, bro. I wouldn't need to give Triple G that rematch.
Love to see Alvarez and Jacobs.
Alvarez? Okay, yeah. I mean, that would be nice, but I'm just of the mindset that you know what, listen, I like Charlo. I want to see what this kid has. And this kid, Munguia, that fought on the undercard, oh, my goodness, Kenny, this brother's special. This young lion is special.
Gotcha.
Height,
real quick,
power, heavy hands, can box. He's coming, and they think he's the future star of the division.
Right. I don't want to take time away from other callers. Real quick, if the Steelers had Le'Veon Bell, they win that game.
Possibly. But you know what? You know why I can't say that definitively, Kenny? Because their defense stinks. That's why.
The Chiefs' defense stinks, too.
I understand that, but still in all. You know, their defense stunk, but they outscored the Chargers. They stunk, but they outscored the Steelers. And in the end, look, the Steelers' secondary is awful. Just awful. Just no other way around it. I appreciate the call, though, Kenny. Thank you so much. Back to your calls and more as we continue to discuss week 2 of the National Football League season. Plus, the super fight that took place Saturday night at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Not to mention, Floyd Money Mayweather is talking about a rematch against Manny Pacquiao. How many of you are interested in that? And, of course, I got a comment about Urban Meyer and his interview with the great Tom Rinaldi in the aftermath of all of this stuff going on with domestic violence in his program associated with one of his coaches. All that and more coming up live up next with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Guys, let's be real. When you look good, you feel good. At the JCPenney wardrobe sale, you can get 50% off select men's suits separate, sport coats, dress pants, and accessories. Plus, select dress shirts, buy one, get one free. Raise your game with Collection by Michael Strahan. All the right looks to take your style to the next level. Also, save an extra 20% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon, or extra 15% off with any other method of payment. Hurry in. JCPenney. Style and value for all. Pricing and coupon valid 9/13 and 9/23. Credit offer subject to credit approval. Some exclusions and restrictions apply. See store at jcp.com for coupon and details.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Ow! Kick that music, please. See, that's the kind of music you get when you're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show. That's kind of smooth. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody can't come back to a radio show with that kind of beat going down. You got to understand it. 31 minutes past hour number 2 back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. When a player doesn't like a contract, they hold out, right? Well, with Straight Talk Wireless, you never have to because there is no contract. And they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless. Only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com. Also, need game tickets? Find your seats at Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Enter promo code ESPN at checkout and receive 10% off your order today. That's Vivid Seats. Back to the phones we go. Dan, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, buddy. How you doing?
Hi, Stephen A. How you doing? I heard Max praised Patrick Mahomes last week against the Chargers. And what do you think how embarrassing the Steelers look against him? What do you think about it?
Steelers defense looked horrendous offensively, despite the 37 points that they put up. They do need Le'Veon Bell back. These players need to go to Le'Veon Bell and apologize to that man and beg him to come back. He don't have to because he's trying to be as safe as he possibly can so he can make sure he get his money. But boy, do they miss Le'Veon Bell. I told y'all Connor's nice, but it came down to earth yesterday. He is no Le'Veon Bell. Make no mistake about it. Le'Veon Bell is a once-in-a-generation caliber running back. And he should have handled things just a touch better. But in the end, what it comes down to is that Le'Veon is Le'Veon. And you don't find him every day. Appreciate his greatness for what it is and go from there. Appreciate the call, buddy. Thank you so much. Christian, you're live with Stephen A. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Stephen A. Big fan of the show, man. I got a quick question about these roughing the passer.
Oh, did you see that against Clay Matthews yesterday? You got to be kidding me.
I'm a Packer fan. This is ridiculous.
Horrible. I mean, let me tell you something right now. Clay, you can't listen. The NFL should have a press conference just to apologize to Clay Matthews. Seriously.
It's absurd.
I mean, you can't hit him more perfect than that. He hit. I mean, listen, when you look at what Clay, and I don't know why they're showing this highlight on ESPN News of Clay Matthews hitting the Chicago Bears. They played Minnesota yesterday, and that hit on Kirk Cousins, he lowered his head. The head was away from Kirk Cousins' body. His shoulder hit the body. It wasn't too low. It wasn't too high. It was the absolute perfect hit. And they want to sit up there and say it's the kind of hit that Anthony Barr put on Aaron Rodgers, where he drove his body into him, to the ground. And that's why they called it, just excessive. It's ridiculous. It's a perfect, picture perfect hit. Clay Matthews, I don't blame him. He's like, it's unbelievable. I don't know what else to do. Let me tell you something right now. If Ray Lewis was on this show with me, he'd probably be turning over tables because nobody has complained louder about how defenses have been, handcuffed by the NFL more so than Ray Lewis. And I got to tell you, it was a travesty of a call against Clay Matthews in the Green Bay Packers yesterday, which led to the game-winning drive when Cousins connected with Thielen, which was great concentration on Thielen's part, by the way.
Yeah, I know. And then that 2-point conversion to Stephon Diggs. What a route runner.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs can ball, man. No doubt about it. He's a baller. Can't deny that. Appreciate the call, Christian. Thank you. Jamari, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, man. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen A., big fan of the show, man.
Thank you.
I know you don't trust Kirk Cousins, man, but after yesterday's game, do you think he proved that he was worth that money?
No. Listen, the man didn't even throw for 300 yards. Number one. Number two, let's be clear about something here. Kirk Cousins can ball. Nobody said that he's a scrub. He can ball. The problem with Kirk Cousins is he doesn't win you games. He puts up great numbers. But does he do what it takes to win? That's the knock on Kirk Cousins. And I think that's what everybody's looking at when they watch it right now. You got to look at him and say, is this the guy that can take us to the promised land? Me personally, I think Minnesota was a perfect landing spot for him because they're not depending on him to actually win games. What they're depending on him to do, and by the way, I know he threw for 425 yards yesterday. I didn't mean to say he didn't pass for 300 yards. He threw for 425 yards yesterday. But what I'm saying to you about Kirk Cousins is this. Kirk Cousins will put up big numbers. He completed 72% of his passes yesterday, 425 yards, 4 touchdowns, just 1 interception, a 118 quarterback rating. We get all of that, but when it really, really counts, when it gets tight, is Kirk Cousins going to win games for you? Now, I don't think Case Keenum was going to do it either. And I think Kirk Cousins gives you a better chance. And even though initially I thought he was overpaid, getting $28 million a year, when you consider what Matthew Stafford's getting, when you consider what Matt Ryan's getting, even though Matt Ryan has won playoff games, when you consider those two, along with others, Kirk Cousins is right up there. And so if that's what the market allows, so be it. But I think that it's not about him winning games for you. It's about him doing enough to allow the defense to win games for you. I think that's how you got to look at Minnesota.
I appreciate the call, man.
Thank you. Let's go to Cole. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's going on, Cole? How you doing, man?
Hey, Stephen A. How are you?
Talk to me, man. What's going on?
I was just wondering what your thoughts were. I thought the Falcons' offense looked pretty good yesterday against a good Carolina defense.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you thought that Matt Ryan and Sarkisian finally gelled, or if it was just a fluke.
I need to see. I need to see more evidence, more of a body of work. Listen, let's face reality about something here. The Carolina Panthers don't have a running game. Whether it's McCaffrey or Anderson or Moore or somebody like that, Cam Newton is your best rusher. That endangers Cam Newton. He threw the ball 45 times yesterday, threw 3 touchdown passes, threw for 335 yards. We know what Cam Newton can do. But when you look at it, McCaffrey is your running back, but he catches 14 receptions for 102 yards. What does that tell you? The running game is just a decoy. This is what they do. They got to throw the football. Him and Funches are your primary receivers. That's what this comes down to. And when you look at Carolina, I mean, not having Davis out there obviously compromises them to some degree because we know what they were, or at least once upon a time with them. But when I look at Atlanta, here's what I think about. First of all, I'm pleased that they were running the football more effectively. Coleman had 107 yards rushing, so that's good on just 16 carries. Julio Jones needs to get more activity. He only had 5 receptions for 64 yards. Ridley had a touchdown, a rookie out of Alabama. I'm proud of him. Hooper and those boys were in the mix as well. I look at Atlanta as a complete team that's formidable against anybody. And I do think their success or lack thereof is going to come down to Sarkisian's chemistry with Matt Ryan. But also this important point, Cole. Matt Ryan has been in the league for more than 10 years now. I blame him just as much as anybody for that 25-point blown lead in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Do you know why, Cole? He's experienced enough to have audibled. He's experienced enough to have told Shanahan and Quinn at the time, this is not the way to go. We need to run the football. We don't need to throw the football just in case we don't get something. You're stopping the clock, blah, blah. He could have done all of that. He had the cachet to do it. He has the cachet to change stuff at the line of scrimmage. He's experienced. He knows the playbook. He knows what the hell he's doing. That's how he should have handled things. And he did not do it. So I hold him accountable for that. And I think Atlanta's success is largely dependent and contingent on him and Sarkisian as the new offensive coordinator from last year, really having better chemistry with each other in their second year together than they did in their first. That's what I think this comes down to, Cole.
All right. Thanks for taking the call.
Appreciate it. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. We'll continue taking your phone calls on week 2 of the NFL season. Got a Monday Night Football game between Chicago and Seattle tonight. Who you think's going to win? And, of course, the boxing match between Triple G and Canelo Alvarez that took place this Saturday night at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, where Canelo won a decision. I thought it should have gone to Triple G, but that's just me. By the way, football season is finally underway, as you well know. And if you play fantasy football, the odds are you probably already hate your team and wish you could draft again. Well, with FanDuel, you can draft a new team every week. They even have a new tool called Guru to help you pick your lineup so you can make smarter picks and feel more confident going into game day. And FanDuel has made it easy to find your friends and challenge them to play head-to-head contests for cash or bragging rights. New users get a $20 bonus when they make their first deposit on FanDuel. So come play with me at FanDuel.com/Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha 990. I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's get back to the phones before we get on out of here for the day. Let's go to MJ. You're live with Stephen A. MJ, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, and you, Stephen A.
I'm good. Go ahead, brother, real quick. Go ahead.
I would just like to talk about this Urban Meyer.
Oh, Urban Meyer. Yeah. Go ahead.
Just first of all, I would like to give my condolences to the young lady that was victimized. And second of all, this is a knock on Urban Meyer legacy. But most of all, I would like to put this on the NCAA. This type of behavior is condoned because even they gave him 3 games. And even if he was fired, he would be hired again within a couple of weeks. So it's like,
well, let me say this.
They accept a lot of unacceptable behavior in the NCAA, so this behavior is going to continue.
I got you. I appreciate the call, man. Thank you, MJ. Thanks for the call. Here's what I would say about Urban Meyer. Every time he opens his mouth, it seems like he's lying more and more. He's got 4 different stories, as the great Paul Feinbaum pointed out, 4 different iterations. It was like pulling teeth at the press conference for him to mention anybody. He showed no contrition towards his coach, Zach Smith, his wife, or now his ex-wife, who was allegedly abused. And then, the reports came out that he didn't even think he deserved to be suspended. I am of the mindset, and I want to be very clear about this. Urban Meyer is not the one being accused of committing domestic violence. And I think sometimes we're looking for people to blame so harshly that we forget to point the finger primarily at the real culprit in all of this. Do y'all understand that Urban Meyer is taking more heat than Zach Smith, the assistant coach, the wide receivers coach, who allegedly abused his wife? He's categorically denied that, by the way. That's why I use the word allegedly. But do you understand that Urban Meyer has taken more abuse than him? Urban Meyer does not deserve that. But I still believe that when you're a leader of young men and you handle things the way that he has handled things publicly, I think that's grounds for losing your job. Because you're sending the wrong message and you're teaching the wrong things and you're a leader of men and you're not acting like one. And if this were a player, he'd have been gone. But because it was a coach who happened to be the grandson of your mentor, you saved him. Now listen, you want to cover for the guy because he's the grandson, as egregious as people might find that, at least that's understandable. But do us a favor, shut the hell up and leave it at that. This man was my mentor. He helped me get my career started. I felt I owed him. I messed up. And shut the hell up. Every time he tries to explain it, he incriminates himself even more. Shut up. You tried to look out for this coach because he's the grandson to your mentor. We might not like it, but damn it, it's understandable and reasonable. As egregious as that might be in the eyes of some people, people do stuff for loved ones all the time. Especially somebody you credit your illustrious career to. It wouldn't have happened if it was not for Earl Bruce. So you looked out for his grandson. As egregious as that might be, that's understandable. But have the decency to shut the hell up after that. To continue to explain with 4 different iterations. This makes you come across as a pathological liar. And that's what makes me feel bad because I like Urban Meyer. But damn, be quiet. Every time he opens his mouth, it looks like he's lying more. Jay, real quick. Go ahead.
Stephen A., I don't agree with you. I think Urban Meyer should never been suspended. I think the reason why it's coming across that he's lying is because he's trying to show contrition of something that he shouldn't show contrition of because he didn't abuse anybody. Nobody was abused on his campus. Nobody was abused at a facility. Nobody was abused at any of the functions. So he should not be held responsible.
Actually, that's not true. We don't have time to get into it, but according to reports, that's not necessarily the case. There are things that happened on that campus. Not to mention both he and his wife are employees of that university on that campus. This coach was a member of his staff, and more importantly, Urban Meyer was dogged in his belief that there would be, in his dictum, that there would be a no-tolerance policy towards domestic violence. But he clearly was talking about that with his players. It clearly wasn't applicable to his coaches. And that is where the hypocrisy comes in. He did not commit domestic violence, but he is a leader of men. He has to set a better example. I got to get on out of here, but I'll be back in 22 hours. Until then, peace and love. Signing off.
Cowboys! How about them Cowboys? Woo! It's the Will Cain Show right after Stephen A. Smith. Cowboys!
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Guys, let's be real. When you look good, you feel good. At the JCPenney wardrobe sale, you can get 50% off select men's suits, separate sport coats, dress pants, and accessories. Plus, select dress shirts, buy one, get one free. Raise your game with Collection by Michael Strahan.